Blessings, folks. Welcome back to another episode of the Hitstreak. I'm your man, Nick Hyder. And folks, I know that I tell you I got an extra special treat for you every episode, and I truly feel that way. But today, it's extra special. All right, and I'm going to go on ahead and put this out on the line. I love all my guests, but I love this one the most, and this one is by far the prettiest one to ever grace the Hitlab, right? Folks, she's the president, or the vice president right here at Team Hyder. She is the president of our household. She's an Arbonne consultant and a dang good one. She is a mother, a wife, businesswoman, best friend, daughter, granddaughter, all the things, and she's amazing at all of them. She has the tightest booty in the Western world, and I can say that because I haven't seen the Eastern world, and if I had, I'd probably say it about the whole world. Folks, help me welcome my bride, Rhiannon Hyder. How we doing, baby?
I am doing wonderful today. The sun's out. We're in this awesome studio. So many good things going on. Can't wait to share more stuff about what we got going on.
Well, we got a lot to catch up on, right? It's been about a year since we had this conversation. A lot of life has happened. We've made some great partnerships. We've looked at some real estate. We finished a big addition on our home. We're about to start another one. We're potty training right now. We're about to have a high schooler. Yeah?
Yep.
Crazy.
Oh, gosh. Remind me of all the good things there.
We're about to be teaching somebody how to drive, and we're still teaching that same person how to clean up the room, too. It's a little weird.
Yeah, when you're teaching one to pee and use the toilet and the other one to make sure, they're driving and you're still teaching him how to clean the toilet. So that never goes away if you have a teenage son.
That's right. When you said we're learning to pee, is she talking about me? I don't know. Who are you talking about?
No, you clean the toilet pretty well. The son, not so much.
That's what I'm talking about. And we're teaching our toddler we're potty training, how to pee and all those things.
Yeah, so we took a much different approach with her, just kind of teaching it to her, showing it to her, and allowing her to know when it's time. And she's ready. She's there.
God forbid it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, she's redheaded. I ain't trying to fight that.
Well, man, there's so much going on, Rhi. Folks, check her out, teamhyder.com, on Instagram, at Rhiannon Hyder, also on Instagram, at Team Hyder, and all of the socials. But you have some Arbonne links as well, right, where people can get those amazing products?
That's right. You can go straight to my Instagram, and the link is there. And if you are more curious about it, you can reach directly to me, and I have access to be able to send very personable shopping carts to what you're interested in, from skincare to supplements to, even products for your kids. So
this is going to be a killer episode. We're already off to a great start. So we're 43 years old as we sit today, both of us. I am in as good a shape as I've been in at least 15, 20 years, and you may be in better shape. That's been my goal, is I've been trying to keep up with you this whole time. You know what I mean? What are some of the, we don't eat even close to the way we ate 10 years ago. We don't live our lives even sort of close to the way we lived 10 years ago. And I'm amazed now that we've eliminated a lot of the toxicity that we didn't even know was toxic at the time. I'm amazed at how much better we feel. I'm amazed at how much more energy we have when we're supposed to be on the other side of that, and it's supposed to be declining, yet we find ourselves with increased levels, right? So you've been the leader in that. It's funny, I went to school for this, and you know 10 times more about it than I do. You're the ringleader in our household that's kept us fit, healthy, and all those things. One, how'd you get into it? And two, what are some of the what's some nuggets we could give them today?
I got into it because of it didn't seem right being in your prime and feeling just so tired and just not being able to feel like you ever caught up on sleep. So that's kind of why I went down that road and wanted to kind of figure out, okay, what can we do? And so that led to clean eating, right? Making better choices. The better bad is what some people call it. Eating spaghetti squash instead of spaghetti noodles. And fast forward now, we do brown rice and quinoa noodles instead of spaghetti squash. We use that sometimes too, but just overall, just making better choices. And then a couple years after that, I believe that's kind of when we started intermittent fasting. And I believe wholeheartedly that changed my relationship with food, and it changed yours as well. Mm-hmm. It focuses more on, and if you're eating in a shorter window, you almost, without even thinking about it, you want to make better choices because you're only eating a certain amount of time, right? Mm-hmm. So it's the intermittent fasting, I think, would be the biggest thing. And then cleaning out your cabinets and making better swaps, right? No seed oils. There's a handful of things we could go down, but that's one of the absolute most detrimental to your health is seed oils.
And like, what is like? Let's tell people what a seed oil is. Like, how do you know? How do they know where to find it if they're looking for it?
I mean, it's going to be listed on the back, right? So it's going to say sunflower oil, safflower oil, canola oil, anything that you don't know, that your body isn't going to recognize it, right? So the motto that I use through the company that got me into fasting is called Fast Away, and it's, if it doesn't have a mother and if it doesn't come from the ground, your body is not going to recognize it, right? So all those seed oils are manufactured in somewhere, and that's what causes your body to be inflamed and have allergies and lead to so many other different ailments throughout your life.
And we take a lot of supplements.
We do.
Right, a lot of supplements. I'm big on top of my normal vitamins and stuff like that you set up for me. I'm big on my nootropics and whatnot. So let's talk about some of the supplements and vitamins that we take. I know it's like, for me, it's about 10 or 12 capsules every morning. Yeah.
So we are on a different. I guess with women are a little bit different than what men need, right? So it's not a little bit. It's not a one size fits all. So you do a lot different. So you're doing vitamin C, vitamin D, collagen. You're taking probiotics, all of those things, and then I'm doing the probiotics, but I do a gut shot through Arbonne that is good for your skin, your hair, and your gut, and that alone it changed the bloating, the inflammation. Even when I do, decide that when I'm driving by Krispy Kreme and the hot sign is on and I want that donut, I know that my body's going to be able to process it because I'm taking things that keep everything moving, right? So that gut shot, if you're out there and you want anything to try to start to change the inflammation and make you feel better and want things to move, the gut shot.
Yeah, I take fiber, zinc and magnesium and all those things in the morning on top of my regular nootropics and whatnot, So can we tell a fun little story?
I would love to. You read my mind.
Go right on ahead.
So I had been getting a certain kind of fiber. They quit making it. So I grabbed another one. It said daily support. Got it. About 4 weeks in, we were going out of town. We were going to the prayer breakfast in Washington, D.C. And I was reading the back of the bottle to make sure I was putting in the right dosage and realized that I had been giving Nick a laxative for 4 weeks every single day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, no, I was not trying to poison him. But
she's going to be on Dateline.
Yeah, for giving him a laxative. I'm glad I caught that within 4 weeks. Sorry about that.
And you owned up to it. I'm still recovering from that. Dude, when I tell you, if you take a laxative for a month straight every single day, it changes you. I think it changed my DNA.
I believe it did. Totally. Yep.
So I'm still recovering from that. So yes, Rhiannon's going to be on Dateline for attempted murder of her husband's colon.
Yep.
And so that was a true story. But she owned up to it. She caught it. She goes, "Oh my gosh, Nick, I've been giving you a laxative every day." I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's what the problem." Because I was embarrassed. I didn't even want to tell you what was going on.
Yep. That's when I'll never live down. That was a moment for sure.
It was let's hope we don't have a redo of that one. You know what I mean? So. Oh, we don't have a redo of that one. So yeah, that was absolutely hysterical, folks. Last time she was in, we talked about how she had birthed their daughter natural, which was absolutely heroic. It was unbelievable to watch, and I still think about what you went through and everything that you overcame that day. Sometimes when things get tough for me, because I use that as inspiration, because it was, dang inspirational watching you do those things. Again, why did you go natural with that? Why did you want to go natural?
13 years after having your first child, I learned a lot. I was learning so much about the foods, and then it was the medicines and, even the vaccines, to bring up a very touchy subject. But it made me realize that I wanted to experience it the way that God meant for us to experience it, and not have a fear, a stigma of fear behind birth. And I will tell you, if you're going down that path, you're going to get resistance more than if you just give in, right? So my doctor was actually very supportive of everything I did, but with Ethan, I had a C-section, and I just barely remembered holding him afterwards because they just give you so much medication. I mean, you just got cut open, right? And so with her, I wanted to take in every second, every single moment. And I knew if I had to be cut on or had any kind of medication, it would take away that. And I will say that, I mean, the recovery from not taking medication or nothing and doing natural, I mean, the second her head is out, it's just game over. You're done. You feel completely fine. You forget about, some of that agonizing pain. I'm not going to lie. It was definitely the worst pain I've ever dealt with. But I knew that on the other side of what was happening was the miracle that we prayed for. I'd prayed for since I was 5 years old, right? So that's all I ever wanted was a little girl. And God blessed us with her in her 40s.
Absolutely. And she's changed our lives, and she's going to change the rest of the world too, no doubt.
No doubt.
No doubt. Well, I want to say thank you, first of all, because my mom and the other women in my life, my aunts and my grandmothers, they got me to a certain point, but I wasn't finished being raised. And you kind of picked up where they had left off when I had left and gone off on independent and told them I was done. There was much work left to do, and you did that. And even like today, this episode will come out, weeks from now. But even today, we had a huge meeting that was honestly a very delicate situation with a huge reward on the back end if we can just get through it. And it went as good as it could have gone. We won. Everybody's going to win, including all the people we'll be doing business with. It was an incredible meeting, but it took time. You were very much involved in that process. And but the reason I'm saying thank you is because, I go back to 2013 when I started our insurance agency that really was the foundation of everything that we have today. And that was, 12 years ago. And you have stuck with me this whole time while I figured it out and dreamed big and personally developed and all those things. And we went along this big journey together. And people ask me a lot about our relationship and how do we keep it as good as it is? Because just like everybody else relationship, we have rough days and whatnot. And I'm sure you have your own perspective and you can tell about it. It's totally fine with me. But when people ask me how our relationship is, I feel like it's great because for me, I love it. I'm very content with where it's at. I'm very happy where it's at. I'm very happy in the direction that it's going. But I'm just so lucky in the fact that I want to work at our relationship a certain amount, a lot, and you match me, if not work harder at it. And I'm so grateful for that because you don't necessarily have to, this long when we've been in the game this long. So what is it like for me? It's just the little things are the big things, and what I focus on grows. So I love when I see you smile, and the fact when I say something that made you feel a certain way and you smile about it, I notice those things now when in the past I didn't see those. What are some of the ways in which you work at our relationship?
I think for one of the things that I just something that I've changed and has worked is, you have to be able to have very open and honest conversations with one another. And I always try to go into, no matter what the situation, no matter what the conversation, what the next business venture is, what it's going to have me doing when I would rather be doing something else, I go into it with an open mind because I trust that you see the future. And that is something that, that's not a weakness of mine, but that's just not something I pay attention to. As a mother, I think our, God-given, talents are taking care of that day to day and making sure those moments are captured when, as men, just in general speaking, in our relationship, you see the future. I'm dealing with the day to day. And I think we both have come to trust each other in those two processes because those are our strengths. And together that's how we make things work. Is it easy? No, nothing worth it is easy.
The, we've had some really rough times, but I'd say like the last, Ethan's 14, really since like 2016, going on the last 10 years have been really, probably even before that, because it was 14 when we got married. The last 11, 12 years have been like we've been building up together. We've never been separated with that. And honestly, there's not a lot that I do in life where you're not there or involved in it, and that's my favorite. Not one time you've ever gone somewhere with me and I regretted it, But there's been a lot of times when I was out and you weren't there, and I'm like, man, I wish she was here. You know what I mean? So like, and I see, some of my friends and colleagues, and maybe they don't spend as much time with their wives and families. And it hurts me for them because, like, I can't think of anybody else I'd rather do these things with. You know what I mean? And I was thinking this morning when I was getting ready, I'm like, I say all the time I do everything for my family. Well, that's true, but I do it for me too. And just like I put the oxygen mask on myself first on the plane to save you guys or to help you guys, that's how I'm living my life too, So there's certain things. Yeah, a lot of this business stuff is for me. I chose the directions in which we're going most of the time. But then the results are as much for you guys as it is for me, right? So and I'm just so grateful to you for making my dreams yours, because you didn't have to. And I don't know if I've really ever said, Rhea, if we were doing things differently, how would you do them? I'm going to say it right now. Rhea, if we were doing things different, how would you do them?
I think I've expressed this our whole life. I mean, I would give anything if I enjoy the business that we do. I choose to enjoy all those things, right? I make the most of everything. But if I could, in my next life, I would love to just be a mother and a wife and to just knock it out of the park. I mean, sure, I'm sure that moms that stay at home and don't work always feel like they're not doing something as best as they could. But when you add the workload and the things that come with that, I feel like that guilt is even more. And the time just goes by so quickly. Mm-hmm. And although we're blessed to be able to work for ourselves and create our own schedules, if it wasn't for that, I don't think I could do it, because I wouldn't want to do it. I don't know how the people that go to work Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, working for someone else, come home, make dinner, and just do all the things. It's so overwhelming. So shout out to all the moms out there doing that, whether it's because you want to or it's because financially that's what you have to do. Like, you do not get enough credit.
I want to thank all of our loyal fans that spread across all 50 states and 14 different countries. It's absolutely amazing. Folks, help us keep spreading the word, right? Share your favorite episodes with friends and make sure that you are liking and subscribing to the Hitstreak on all digital platforms. Thanks again, and we look forward to more.
I would say, 10 years ago, it was 50-50 on the workload versus whatnot. It's shifted a lot. What percentage would you be right now as far as the work goes versus like work business, not work home? Because work home's a whole nother thing, and like you are by far the leader on that. The running joke is I haven't decided what I eat in like 10 years. Every once in a while she'll say, "Well, what do you want?" I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that's a loaded question." I haven't answered that question for myself in a decade.
I'd say it's probably close to 70 at home, doing everything that comes with running the household, having all the businesses that we do that you're in charge of. So I take on the majority of those things at home. So 30% of it is usually work. Again, we're super blessed with what we get to do. Being self-employed and selling health insurance, I can do that from literally anywhere. Mm-hmm. And for that, I'm so thankful. And that's what allows me to be able to make it 70-30, right? If I had to go to an office somewhere 5 days a week, 40, 50 hours, and then drive, I wouldn't have that opportunity.
And we're always learning, and I think it's my opinion. We'll see. We'll a few years from now, we'll come back and address this. I think one of the saddest things is when you have this kick-ass, awesome woman who abandons or puts on hold all the blessings and gifts that God gave her to help the marketplace. Because that's what I think when you make your impact is when you take your God-given abilities and you put them to work in the marketplace. That's when you make an impact. Now, and home isn't the marketplace. And I think there's a lot of women that went to school, made great grades, accomplished great things, and are super smart, took 15 years off, and the world changed, and they can't get back in. And they're dinosaurs. And like, I think the way that you've done it, you'll always have a choice and be relevant real time. You won't take 10 years to get back into the swing of things, because you never were totally removed from it. Now, I would love to doing it over again. I'd love to say, I'd love to get you in that 70-30 role 10 years ago. It's only been the last couple of years that happened, that shift happened. And it's been my goal to make it, 90-10 maybe. But like, I feel like we're right where we kind of want to be. I mean, I work too much. I work more than I want, but again, it's investments. That's the way I look at it. It's not work. It's investments in us and our future. And honestly, like, I want to be able to be for our kids, who a lot of our parents have been for us, and the fact that they could be there at the drop of a hat with a phone call for a babysitter, or whatnot. And I feel like we're going to be able to do that really, really well. But like, you're such an awesome person and a star. I feel like how empty would life be if you couldn't help the same way you want to help kids? Like, I feel like you want to help everybody that way. And if that was removed, I feel like that would be empty for you.
I totally agree. I mean, I've always, even, God, I believe when I was 14, I was, teaching dance, babysitting. I mean, I've always had 2 to 3 jobs minimum, or just 2 to 3 things that I was doing. And, even if let's say I could remove myself from every single business, you bet your bottom dollar I'm volunteering at the school. I'm on some kind of committee at the church. Like, I'm not just going to sit back and do nothing. That's not who I am. I know I have a lot to give, and I do believe my purpose is to give to people. And that could be in the form of, right now, selling health insurance, helping get their supplements right so they feel good, or, just speaking faith and God into them. I feel I have strength in all of those things.
I think you could help a lot of women that are maybe torn between, maybe their household set up where, like most, where it's a 2-income household. 2 people are working towards, being the breadwinners. There's no longer a breadwinner; it's plural now, And then there's probably a lot of people that feel guilty about a lot of those things. But at the same time, we're raising a future powerful woman as well. And and again, I watched my grandparents and even parents to some degree, where when it came to the money and the income, only my granddad or dad knew what was going on with anything. And I remember, like, they would say when gosh, if he passes away first, she's not even gonna know where the checkbook is, or she's not gonna be able to get in the bank accounts or anything. We've set it up where if something happened to me, things can continue. Life can continue for you and the kids, and so on and so forth. And that was really important to me, because I watched that happen to people, and it's to people that in my own family, and it wasn't always the best outcome. There's always a better way to do it. So I love the fact that you're included to some degree, so that if something happened to me, one, there's a whole lot of legal conversations that have to happen when Nick's no longer here. And now you can actually speak to those intelligently and protect everything that we've sacrificed for and built, and you can keep it and it won't get taken away. So I feel like that's really important too,
I totally agree. I mean, everybody's set up different. It's to each their own. It's to what works for your family. But, again, I'm not that personality. I like to know what's going on. As a child, I can remember, my grandparents lived we lived in their backyard, and I would go to her house, and I'd asked her if I could open her mail, because I just wanted to see how much the light bill was. I mean, I was 5 years old. I was just curious. I like to take things apart and figure and see how they're made, and that kind of helps me understand what that looks like. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's who I am.
Well, you can take me apart anytime. I'm just going to go ahead and throw that out there. Well, again, you've been leading the charge in getting us extremely healthy. We have a lot of fun together. We do a lot of all the things. We chase our kids all over town. We're incredibly blessed. But I want to talk about a little bit some of the changes we've made in our faith to get stronger. Right now, we take notes all throughout church and the sermons, and I say this a lot. I actually said it in a keynote yesterday. I say it in almost every keynote, because I tell everybody when I go speak, I'm like, look, what I'm going to tell you today ain't going to change your life. Okay? But if you apply it over and over and over again for a long time, it probably will. And like, that's the application for me. And I've always really struggled since college with going to church. And it's because, one, and I want to say that I think going to church is unbelievably important for a family because it's a great way to raise kids. It's proximity that's unparalleled, especially for children. I know that it speaks and feeds you big time in ways that I can't even understand. But for me, I struggle sometimes when I watch people sitting there and they get filled every Sunday, but then they go out and nothing changes, and every Sunday they come back and they're in the exact same place that they were the previous Sunday. So we made a commitment to ourselves that, like, look, man, we're going to go there, and it's not going to be just something we do on Sundays. It's not going to be a community center where we just go hang with people. It's got to be more than that on Sundays. There's 6 other days of the week we can hang out with our church fam and do things and have fun and so on and so forth. But when we go there on Sunday, there's a person that was called to be a translator from God to us, to be the middle person to deliver that message, and we've got to make sure that when we hear it, we can apply it, okay? Because God's speaking to us. So every time, we're all taking notes throughout the sermon. As soon as we get in the car, we all talk about what we got out of that sermon and how we're going to apply it to our lives right now, right? How effective has that been for us?
It's been super effective because life is busy. You go to church on Sunday, you leave, and then it's groceries, laundries, cleaning. What brings Monday? Where do the kids have to be? Your thoughts immediately go to your busy to-do list, right? Rather than let's take out these notes. Like, I've started writing my notes in a booklet that's just literally all it is for when I'm hearing someone preach, I'm taking notes. And I'm still reading my Bible, but every morning for the past few weeks, I have reread all of those notes. And it's such a good reminder of, taking those lessons and how can I apply them today, right? My biggest thing for myself right now is just the obedience and the consistency because, we are running several things. We have a toddler. We have, a teenager. It's life, right? So reading my notes and even taking more notes after we have our discussions has been really a path of moving everything forward to exactly where we want it to be.
You said something awesome in there. You were like, you leave church and you immediately go back to your to-do list. And I've always said instead of a to-do list, you need to have a to-be list. But I think you got to have both now. The to-do list is always going to be there. But you got to have a to-be list too. And I think that to-be list can be a source of what you heard God speak to you through that sermon. You know what I mean? Like, it's easy to sit out there and just kind of go through the motions and kind of pay attention, kind of not. But like, if you really make the choice to be fed, to not just listen or hear. I always get this confused because dang Woody Harrelson from White Men Can't Jump, when he says that scene in the movie, he says, no, you hear Jimmy, but you're not listening to Jimmy. Or is it vice versa? You're listening to Jimmy, but you don't hear Jimmy. I don't know. But like, when you go to church, that to-do list allows you to, like, you have to sit there and make an effort to not just hear it, but actually listen, or vice versa, however it goes.
Right.
And like, you got your phone over there with you? Like, you got your notes. Let's just read everybody our notes from just this last Sunday sermon. You ready?
Mine was from the Sunday before.
Before?
And I actually took a picture. I've been taking pictures of my notes so that if I don't have my book with me and I need to reference something, I can go back and pull that up. All
right. Well, so I just want to hear like both perspectives. This is a fun little exercise. This is like literally on our own phones. This is what our notes from the sermon, right? So this is what was the sermon was about. Let's preface it a little bit.
This was actually Mother's Day on May the 12th, and it's Hebrews 11:11. The sermon series is called By Faith, and this particular message was patience, and it was the story of Sarah and her not being promised a child and her going through so many different trials to get there, even her trying to figure out how she can make God's promise work, where she offered her servant to Abraham to be able to have a baby, right? Which just got in the way of God's plan. And it says, we're in a hurry, not God. We're taking the shortcuts. You may not be the man or woman that God needs you to be for him to fulfill his purpose, right? So that's where we have to wait and be patient. it's the process and consistent discipline that leads to believing the faith that you have. Let's see, take the time to step back to process, meaning you need to learn the word to be prepared, read the Bible. If you're not taking the time to read and learn the word, you are skipping the process. You're basically saying, my thoughts, my purpose, what I think for my life is better than what God. That's what I took from that. Your strongest faith can be built by your biggest failure. And perfection is posted, reality is lived. Blessings begin with obedience. Faith through failure, God can clean your mess. Those are my notes from that one sermon.
So here's mine. You ready? This is crazy, guys, and men versus women, right? So, mine started out with it was Hebrews 11, 1 through 2, right? Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen, right? So the first thing I wrote in my notes was, Lord, I pray two things. Show me why I'm here and teach me something new, all right? And you can do that every single Sunday when you sit in the congregation to hear that sermon. Lord, show me why I'm here and teach me something new. What you look for, you find. You know what I'm saying? So I wrote, faith is seeing things through God's eyes, not our own. All right, think about that. Faith is seeing things through God's eyes, not our own. So like, basically you're saying faith is something you can't see, right? I wrote here, because this was important to me, what made Michael Jordan great, right? You think, well, how did he get that from where we were going, right? Well, he had one focus, one goal, one purpose, and nothing else mattered, and that was winning. It didn't matter who scored the shot. Winning was his focus, okay? So what you appreciate in life appreciates in value. That was my next notes. I asked the question, I said, why does God make us wait? Well, maybe we're not ready. We think we are, but like, do we really know what God knows? Maybe we ain't ready. Maybe he's testing us. Maybe he's making us prove our faith, not to him, but to ourselves. Maybe, right? And blessings follow obedience. They don't come first. Obedience does, all right? Another word for obedience might be discipline. Faith through failure, because God can redeem your mess.
So we were very similar at the end.
That's right. And I put the last thing I put right here is, when living your life for Jesus, you actually do make a beautiful mess. You make mistakes along the way. You make a mess along the way. And because you make a mess living out your life for Jesus, it's a beautiful mess. That's where the real gifts lie, and those lessons learned from those beautiful messes. Right? So, and going even further, like he referenced, I'm pretty sure that day, the story of Noah. And how, like, you know, we want stuff. It's like, I use this in social media a lot and in digital marketing. You know, people spend, let's say they spend, I don't know, 10 grand with the Hitlab, all right? 10 grand in a couple months, and they made, 60 posts on their social media stuff, and it's high quality content. It looks good. 60 times, a couple months, 10 grand. Nick, man, like, I feel like I should be making more money from this. And it's like, dude, if that's not all it takes is $10,000 in 2 months and 60 posts on 6 platforms, and if that's all it takes, nobody to advertise on the Super Bowl. Let's be real. But again, like, Noah had to get called a fool and do something that was absolutely ridiculous that had never been done before for over 100 years, 120 years if I'm not mistaken. 120 years, and we want results in a month or two or next week. Same way with losing weight and everything else, right? So that obedience is key. It's key. And you're an unbelievable example of that, because, some might say you're a lucky girl today that you're with me, but dude, they wouldn't have said that all along the way. They might not say it today, but let's say they did. They definitely wouldn't have said it 5 years ago. 10 years ago, they would have said, get the heck out of there. You know what I'm saying? So, like, guys, that's what we do every single Sunday, 52 times a year. And if we're on the road or something else, we go back and we watch that sucker, and we still do that same exercise, because the blessings follow the obedience.
That's right.
Right? So what difference what impact has that made on us as a family, do you think?
I think it just makes us all dig deeper and really, hold yourself more accountable to who God is trying to show you who he wants to be. I think the thing I say the most if I'm praying is just God guide my path, right? And if I keep saying that, I'm going to look for him more than I'm going to look for, I call it, I'm going to look for the spirit more than I'm going to look to please the flesh.
The Hitstreak is powered by our partners at Hitlab Creative Studios. Whether it's launching your brand new podcast, rebranding your current podcast, or taking advantage of any of their other content packages specifically for your social media needs, the Hitlab is a one-stop shop for you. Visit hitlabstudio.com for more.
Again, these are just examples of the way how you can live all your life. So your boss is telling you, your mentor, the person that's above you in your company is teaching you something. Like, you can be there or you can really be there. Right? Again, and you could ask those same questions anytime you're doing anything. You know, those two prayers. Lord, I pray, show me why I'm here and teach me something new. Jensen's sitting over here off camera, right? Say that prayer, dude. Show me why I'm here. Teach me something new. You'll find it. You'll find it. And if you can do that often, every single time God puts you in a circumstance to go through anything in life, you can change things in your favor and for others. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's just a great exercise, a great lesson on how to apply in the rest of your life. And the application is where things get lost. They do not apply. Okay? So let's take that same thing, that same exercise, and let's apply it to the health now. You want to do that?
Yep.
Let's do it. So how do you take those same things? Like, sometimes I do that when you make a food that I ain't never seen before. All right, Lord, show me why I'm here and teach me something new. But I got to be open-minded, because, like, when you first told me, Nick, no longer are we going to eat spaghetti noodles, it's going to be squash, I was like, what? You're like, hey, man, that pizza crust you like so much, it's going to be cauliflower. What? Right? And now it's what I asked for. And actually, I question you if you show up at the house and it's not cauliflower crust. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, I've totally changed perspectives on it, right? But again, it was me having faith and seeing things through somebody's eyes other than my own. Having faith in you, seeing things through your eyes, just like I have to do with having faith and seeing through things through God's eyes. So it's an exercise and an application. Talk to me more about that from your perspective.
And health insurance?
No, health insurance, Arbonne, like all the things.
Yeah, so...
Start with health insurance. I love it when you help people with health insurance. We get paid good to do that.
Well, I think perspective for health insurance is no one grew up knowing how to pick a health insurance plan. No one decided, hey, I want to be in health insurance. It found us, right? It found us. And working in doctor's offices for so long and being familiar with the language and the terminology, it has just magnified how good we've become at what we do, because there are so many agents out there that are going to help, that will not help you properly. They're going to misguide you and almost give you false expectations to make a sell. We're not in it to make a sell. We're in it to educate the people. I don't want people saying health insurance is a scam. It bothers me deep down, because I know what I know, not because I've sell health insurance, because I know. I've looked at it. I've studied it. I've read all of the brochures. And I want that stigma that health insurance is a scam to go away. Sure, there are some scams out there, but if you're being properly communicated and, got the right person helping you, that's where we come in, it's not a scam. You know exactly what you're buying. You know exactly what it's going to do. It's not going to be a surprise. And if it is a surprise, you need to come talk to us again, because you might have listened, but you didn't hear us, right?
So that's the order we're going in, if you didn't know.
It's just what came to
my mind. You listen to hear.
Yeah.
I like it.
Right? So that is one of the biggest issues. I literally helped someone just before this, we're shooting, and she's like, oh, I can go to the doctor, anytime I want. And I was like, well, sure, but that doesn't mean it's not going to cost you something, so...
Wow, and why would you want to do that?
Right. You're like, well, I don't really go to the doctor. Well, you just said you wanted to, right? Insurance isn't a free a card to go to the doctor whenever you want. When you buy car insurance, you still got to pay for gas. You still got to get your tires rotated. You still have to get your oil changed. And if your claim is less than $1,000 on your car, you're probably going to pay cash for it. That same concept should apply to health insurance, period. It's it's not something you want to use, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to buy the best plan out there. You just have to buy the best plan out there for you.
And I love it too, because we do get paid extremely well to do that. But, you know, and that's just because a great man named Troy built an unbelievable business model where we can do that, where we don't have to sell to every single person that comes across our desk to earn a living. We can actually help the people that need our help. We don't need to sell people stuff that they don't actually need. You know what I mean? We can customize it and build, we can tailor it to their specific needs, health needs, and budgetary needs and whatnot to be able to do that. And you're so great at educating the people. That's all I know is the moment you became a part of that business, it grew quick. It grew quick. You were an unbelievable addition to that business. So let's take that same concept and exercise from church, and let's apply it to something else. Let's apply it to being a wife and mother.
God gave me those 2 children to raise and let them out into the earth to be able to create more disciples, right? That's at the end of the day, if you're following Jesus, you are out there trying to teach more people about him and that they can live eternity if they follow Jesus, right? So applying those same things to being a mom is giving them the best of me, and the only way they're going to get the best of me is to make sure I'm doing certain things for myself and feeding my faith. If I'm not, how can I feed their faith, right? So, you know, and also the way that I look at them, I often at night when I'm rocking our daughter and it's so quiet and I can just hear her breathing on me, I think about like, wow, this is how God sees all of us, like, right? Like, even with, you know, our child, he's 14, he's made some mistakes, and as mad as I am at those mistakes, I always forgive him and I love him so much more through them. And it's just, I have to remind myself that is exactly how God sees us every day. The second those negative thoughts, you shouldn't have done that, you should be ashamed of this or this, I think, no, that's not how God sees us. I would never be ashamed of my children, no matter what they did, because I love them, you know, without condition. And that's the love that God has for us.
How many Stanleys does our daughter have?
She just has one, but I've kind of overtaken it because I always have like 4 drinks in my hand.
Rhiannon is the meme when she had there. This show is sponsored by Stanley.
We'll just get it over here. I could use a
there
quick
you
drink
go.
Of my energy fizz.
She's got her Stanley. So yes, our that was a fun little joke because she's always got a Stanley, and now our daughter's got one.
She only wanted a drink out of mine, so you know.
That's right. That's right. All right. So we talked a little bit about health. Talk to me a little bit about, like, you know, dude, I'm always blown away at an income stream like Arbonne that is as much as you want or as little as you want, and as much work as you want to do versus as little work as you want to do. It's a multi-level marketing company, right? Which, as I've learned about affiliate marketing, makes a whole lot of sense for people like me, especially if you got a big, strong personal brand or you know a lot of people. But the products are legit. They're legit. Look at you. You're proof. You know what I mean? So, like, talk to me a little bit about. Let's do a little myth busting about MLMs. All right, multi-level marketing companies, and why a company like Arbonne that has unbelievable products, that has a great commission structure. Why it's a great thing, because some people might be listening today and say, hey, you know, I wouldn't mind being a distributor. You became an Arbonne distributor because you liked the products first.
That's right. I was just a customer and saw, 1, the incredible savings if you become a consultant, and 2, like, man, what if there's other people that I could help that may want to do that? I will admit wholeheartedly I haven't put into it what I'm capable of. Not yet. It's coming. I'm prioritizing some certain things right now, but I'm super passionate about it. It's not just how you feel. The way you look on the outside is just the result of how you're feeling on the inside. That's all it is.
That's huge.
It's clean. They don't use seed oils. It's vegan. They follow the European standards when it comes to what they put in there. And, they have a protein powder, and There's just so many different ways that Arbonne could be a part of your life. And, your question, what's the myths, the stigma behind MLMs? It's the people. It's the same in health insurance, anything you do. They're just not always the right people. There's the people that are getting in it for the wrong reasons.
You mean they want to get paid to show up?
Yeah, and that's the people that are burned, right? Most people, if they have an issue with MLM, it's because they couldn't make it, right? And they don't look themselves in the mirror for the reason for that. They're looking to blame someone.
It's funny, there's all these other people winning and you're not, yet you're going to be like, that's a scam. Right. Well, I mean, maybe those people winning have a sharper skill set than you do, but that means if you can sharpen your skill set to be equivalent to what they're doing, then you'd have the results that they're getting. So it's like, again, it's people placing blame on everybody else, never taking responsibility. I struggle with that because I always, if you're always the smartest person in the room, it becomes a frustrating place to stay. I like getting fed by others. I like learning from other people and surrounding myself. But when you are the leader or at the top, you spend a lot of your time bringing people up. You know what I mean? So that's why pastors have to go on retreats and summits and so on and so forth, so they can get fed too. Mm-hmm. But you have been a huge source for me in somebody that when I go home or come to the office like we did today, I learn all the time, and it's just really neat. It's a great thing. Let's see, what else we talking about today, Riri?
Well, I mean, affiliate marketing, right?
Affiliate marketing. Let's go.
A lot of people don't realize how involved we are in credit card processing business.
There it is.
And, I don't do as good a job as I should because I'm worried about, well, what is someone going to think? I promote Arbonne. I promote health insurance. Look, I'm just trying to promote greatness, right? There's so many things out there that can create streams of revenue that are creating streams of revenue for our family. I'm just wanting to share them, right? So with health insurance, if you have health insurance questions, you're getting me. If you're getting Arbonne, you're getting me, but you're getting me that is underneath a whole group of people that are in incredible support. And my head upline is the number one consultant and head of Arbonne. Like, you're getting the best, right?
Shout out to Jenna Purdue,
That's
baby.
Right. And if you are looking to maybe become an affiliate with credit card processing, I'm going to help introduce you to someone else. I'm going to hand you off to someone that I trust that's a partner of mine in our processing business, right? I'm not going to be the one to answer all your questions. I am going to be that person that can help, kind of bridge the gap in between you and the agent that's going to help you save the money, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's one thing that's missing because everybody takes credit cards, and the things I have learned in that business alone, like if you have not shopped your credit card fees or looked into alternatives, you're missing out.
We've been unbelievably blessed for the relationships we have in that industry. We got into it with Rebecca and Carrie out in Arizona at RAC Financial, and they are unbelievable people and some of the best partners ever on planet Earth. And huge shout out to them for getting us into the space. We still work with them today. We've actually launched our own company called Processing First, and the reason that we did that is because to have a superior field force, there were some tools that were needed that our old buddy Brad Lee and the great Phoebe Dupre offered with us. I'm actually wearing one of the real shirts today, and all of our field force gets access to those top level training platforms and relationships to be able to learn the industry and do those things. And honestly, I don't know anybody else that has more relationships with more banks worldwide, internationally than like right here that we do. And it's just because of those relationships with those amazing people, and Rebecca and Carrie and Brad and Will Gonzalez and Chris Reggie and Michael Gumbert and David Gwaltney and all those people that have just, we're on the verge of something unbelievably life-changing, and anybody can have it now.
That's right. Introductions. It's your relationships with other people can be the reason that you may not have to work in 5 years, that you just collect money residually. And I don't know anybody that doesn't want that deal.
Passive income.
Yeah. Right?
Passive income.
Rebecca and Carrie alone, the relationships that they have created over the past 8 to 10 years, we're riding their coattails, right? Like,
Oh, yeah.
we're here because of their relationships. Like, you could be somewhere because of your relationships and other people's. Like, there's just, the world has so much to offer. There's more opportunity out there than you could ever imagine. But if you're not looking for it, you're never going to find it.
What have you, so like, I've always been the social media person in our house, the big digital marketing person. I finally, earlier this year, I guess it was last year, said, hey, Ree, we own all this stuff. We got all these people. We have all these things. Like, I would love to get you on camera to have, like, I was like, do people really believe what I'm saying if my own wife ain't doing it too? And you're like, all right, well, I'll do it. What have you noticed? Like, because, people ask me a lot, do you guys still do health insurance? I'm like, well, yeah, of course we do. We don't market it as much as we could, just because we're doing other things. I'd like to market it more. I'd like to market everything more. I want everything to get better. But like, how big of a difference have you noticed in just lead flow and our insurance agency still continuing to grow after all these years, just from you working with the Hitlab and the content that's being put out?
It's, what I think so many people expect is just leads coming in, like people watching your video and wanting to reach out to you. That's not what it is. It, to me, sure, that happens. But what I get more often is those videos are creating this trust with the people I already have relationships with. And those people are the ones out there saying, hey, you need to call Rhiannon. You need to call Team Hyder. That is what I'm seeing the biggest difference is, because those people that we're already in front of, it's just showing how knowledgeable we are and what we can do. And it's we're actually just creating people to send us leads is what it's really doing. I mean, ultimately it will start feeding you, but that takes time, right? And consistency and more content, right? So,
that the Hitlab business and this podcast has brought more amazing people into our lives that we get to hang out with. And if you just think about, like, just since the Christmas party at Brad and Melissa's house, you know what I mean? Which, by the way, how special was, like, Melissa's unbelievable.
Salt of the earth. There is nothing. She's incredible. Love her.
Like, so we go to this Christmas party at Brad and Melissa's house here in Nashville, and Rob Luna and his family are there. Coach Burt and his family are there. The Sentinel Foundation fellas and their families are there. Let's see, Matt, old Titan Matt. Matt was Matt Rogers and his family were there. Who else was there? Did I knock it out? Santa Claus was there.
Yeah, Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus was there.
It was unbelievable. And like, I think that's the coolest thing is like when you get to know all the, we were on a cruise last year and Brad and his family and Andy Elliott and his wife Jackie and their family were on the boat. And we all hung out with them in St. Thomas and had a great time. Like, these people are unbelievable people, and when you get to know them, they're not that much different than us. They just made some better choices and their faith is stronger. In I'd say in God, but like even more so in themselves and their ability to help others, right? Like, what's the most surprising thing that you've learned in hanging out with these people? Just because, like, every one of them will just drop whatever they're doing to help you if they need to.
I believe it is, just you see what you see on social media, right? Like what I said earlier in my notes, it's what's posted, right? Reality is what's lived. And the reality is they're salts of the earth people. They really do have your best interest at heart, but that doesn't come lightly, right? Mm-hmm. We developed those relationships over a matter of almost 4 years now. It's been 4 years since we met Brad and Melissa. And it's not like it was they're all in or we're all in. It was a combined effort, right? And I think that goes with anything. And that's what I've learned is it's a two-way street, right? We're constantly inviting them over. I mean, Brad, just go ahead and move here and get it over with. I don't know what else to tell you. But, and just being able to have a group like that, right? You always say you don't want to be the smartest person in the room or the, most intelligent. If you're surrounding yourself with those types of people, you're always going to be around someone that has made some bigger choices and good decisions, and it can just influence you over time.
They're further ahead in the journey than we are, and they've already paved that path, and that's man, it's awesome to have that, you know?
The Hitstreak is powered by Team Hyder. Team Hyder has been serving you for 11 years and has racked up over 20 national and local awards for excellence in all areas. When it comes to finding the right health plan, we need to consider your family's needs and your family's budget. That's what we do to serve you. To look further and to book an appointment, visit teamhyder.com.
We got an invite to go to that little Christmas party, and we get there, and like literally Santa Claus and Miss Claus are there, like real life there, and it was awesome. And then they had this beautiful spread, and then there was they had all the stuff for the kids. What did they have for the kids?
So first, back up. We can't talk about that party without talking about the dip. Her brother, Melissa's brother, is a chef, and he made this artichoke dip. And Melissa, you may have to post the recipe because it is that good.
Agreed.
But Melissa had Santa Claus. She had presents. She had these books made that were specialized, like personalized for all the kids. Each one had the kids and the family's name. And she had a whole table that she had rented for cookie decorating. You know, it was a very, very, very special night. It was really fun. We all enjoyed it.
That book that was personalized was just the coolest thing. Like, it's still something like, and I can't wait for Christmas to roll back around again so we get to enjoy it again. Yeah. You know, apologies, I threw my pen across the room by accident. I got another one though.
Another funny story with Melissa and her the kids is, I think it was Halloween. We all went to the zoo and we went out to Jonathan's to eat dinner, and the two girls were sitting there, and Ethan, and they were questioning Ethan. They're like, so you play baseball, you play the drums? He's like, how do you know that? They're like, oh, we follow you on YouTube, you know? So it doesn't just go with us, right? And we all went to Morgan Wallen, and all day long the girls are calling Ethan like, man, why are our parents going to a concert and we're not, you know? So it's created friendships within our family with our kids. I mean, our 3-year-old is always like, where's Chloe? I want to see Chloe. So it's just a good thing. It's great. It's a good relationships to have with those kind of people.
Absolutely. So as we get to the end of this thing here, there's so many things, like, you know, there's so many stories, there's so many ways we could take this conversation, but like, again, the center of our world is our faith, and feeding that faith rather than our fear, and constantly finding new ways to grow spiritually, emotionally, physically, and create. We're always trying to create more time, you know, because both of us just want more time at home with our kids. That's really what we want, and both of us would like to have more time with our friends as well, because I know you have an unbelievable group of girls that you guys are extremely close, and I know if time was available, you'd spend a lot more time together, you know. But y'all are raising kids and husbands right now.
Mm-hmm. We sure are.
So, you know, like I say, is there? So, first of all, if you have any questions or interest in needing help with health insurance, teamhyder.com is where you go for that. All right. They can find anything Arbonne related at the links in your Instagram profile, right? And if they want to become an affiliate or an agent, even, is for credit card processing, for merchant processing, or a business owner, like, I wonder if I'm overpaying, which you probably are if you hadn't talked to us yet. You know, give us a chance to earn that business. Where can they go to apply for that? Just shoot you a DM, maybe say processing?
Yes, at the current state, I am checking all the messages.
Beautiful.
I'll get to another point one day, but we're not there yet.
And what advice would you have for folks that are teetering on, you know, should I start a podcast? Should I start making content?
Go for it. You're not going to regret it, but my advice is, remember, great things take time. It's not going to happen overnight. There's not a specific dollar amount that you're going to know that you're going to spend and you're going to get the return. It's also the effort that you put in behind it, right? It's not, let's just spend this much money and see what happens. It's so much more than that. But the time is the biggest thing.
I think about the cast of Friends, you know, and how when they first started, their contract was one thing, but once they'd gotten good and proved market value, they were able to negotiate new contracts. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you know, again, in the beginning, if you haven't done a lot of digital content, you hadn't been on camera a lot of times, it's a skill that you haven't yet sharpened. Mm-hmm. You haven't developed, so you got to get good at it, right? And it's weird in the beginning, isn't it? When there's a camera on you.
Yeah. It's very weird. But you get used to it. And the more you do it, the more you practice anything, the better you're going to get.
That's
Michael
right.
Jordan didn't just go out there, once a day for an hour and shoot hoops. He committed. So if you're going to do it, you got to commit. And that's knowing that it's going to take probably a year longer than what you think it's going to take.
How sexy was it that she used Michael Jordan as the example right there? Sports analogy, girl.
I met Michael Jordan years ago. I think it was in 2001.
Would he remember
2002.
you?
Probably not.
I don't know. You're very memorable.
That was before, I could have any proof that we actually met him. But I was with Jane and Jana in Chicago at a bar back in 2001, 2002, and just happened to look over, and sure enough, there's Michael Jordan. So pretty cool.
What did he say?
I honestly don't recall. I'm not even sure if we said anything to him. We were just, 3 21-year-old small town girls like, oh my goodness, it's Michael Jordan. So
That's right.
I knew who he was. Not that I didn't know who he was, but now who he is and how he accomplished what he does. Like, if it was now, it'd be a whole different story. I might be having him on this podcast.
That's right. That's right. Oh, he's on my bucket list for sure. All right. Final thing right here. Okay. And I'm going to get into it. Final thing right here. All right. So when it comes to health, all right, would you say that, and we're not anti-medicine, guys. Okay. Some of the best people on earth are the doctors, and we have doctors, and we use our doctors for certain things, but a lot of times we're using doctors when we could have fixed some things ourselves with changing diet or whatever else, right? So when it comes to, views on modern medicine, Western medicine, vaccines, so on, preventative, so on and so forth, you've done a lot of research here, a whole lot of research, and I would encourage everybody to do your research. And vet both sides, all the sources, so you can get both sides of the story, because there's always two sides of the story. So you can form your own opinion, and somebody else's opinion isn't yours. So she's going to share hers because she's done an unbelievable job of investigating, doing research, and so on and so forth, and has taught me a lot. So when it comes to modern medicine, what's the best way to apply or to use it, do you think?
I think just knowing that if you take 100 years ago, what were we doing 100 years ago? Sure, the lifespan may not have been as long, but we were not eating processed foods. We were not slathering sunscreen all over our bodies and sitting out in the direct sunlight. We were exercising. We were walking. We were not taking 75 vaccines as a child. We were not taking antibiotics every time something didn't feel right. There were alternatives, right? The doctor came to your house. They did this. Getting out in the sunshine, exercising, eating clean, and just, those are just 3 simple things that you have to do, right? If our daughter, when she got an ear infection, I first went to, okay, what is a natural way I can try to heal her before I give her medication? Because what if years from now she really needs it and I give it to her so much it's not going to actually work? It's going to negate the entire reason why I'd give it to her.
You build a tolerance to it.
Yes, I did garlic oil in her ears. When she has a fever, if it's under 102.5, the first thing I do is reach for some vinegar and lavender oil and put a rag on her neck, or make popsicles with coconut water and fresh fruit in it. There's just so many ways to do that. I am not a doctor by no means. Am I saying that? But this is what's worked for us. And I truly believe that child sleeps 12 to 14 hours a night. And I truly believe some of the choices I made helped her, get that sleep that she needs, and she's not has allergies. She's, was sick the first few weeks she went to daycare, but outside of that, she has been extremely healthy. And, she didn't have processed food probably until she was about 2 years old. Everything she had was something I made that was organic. And so, yeah,
it's a great foundation to build a healthy body, for sure.
It is. And it seems like the hard way, but I think that's because over the years, there's so much money to be made if you do it the other way, right? There's no money to be made if you're healing yourself and sitting in the sunshine and exercising. And I will say, being in health insurance, I have seen a lot more people go that route. Even some doctors
Really?
are starting to recommend some other things. So that's reassuring, and I do like that side of things. But a lot of the times the clients that I'm getting are very like-minded like myself, and now they're calling me and asking me all these questions. Hey, what did you do when your daughter had an earache? Remind me again what you did when she had COVID or the flu. And I love being able to be that resource for those parents.
All right. Final questions.
Okay.
You ready? So first of all, let's have a little bit of fun.
Okay.
All right. So what are you the most excited about in what we're doing professionally right now?
Credit card processing.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, it gives us what we want, time. It's the money's working. What's the saying again? Where we're not trading time for money any longer.
That's right. Well, our money is creating money now.
Yeah. That is getting me to my goal if I want to retire when I'm 45. Outside of helping people with health insurance, I'll always do that.
That's right. All right. Let's see. Favorite TV shows that you're binging right now?
Suits.
I
watched the first 8 seasons on Netflix and had no idea that there was a season 9 on Amazon Prime. Heard about it at the ballpark last week. I stayed up way too late last week and watched every single one. And I have started rewatching it again because there's nothing else I want to watch. I love that show.
All right.
And if anybody is a Donna, if you've watched it, I want to hire you immediately.
All right. Let's see. Favorite healthy snack foods right now. You're big. We do a lot of shopping at Trader Joe's. Why is that?
Trader Joe's does not put food coloring or dyes or synthetic things in their products. I was actually looking at Greek yogurt. Our daughter loves vanilla Greek yogurt, and the brand I was buying was garbage compared to the ingredients in the ones at Trader Joe's. So they just outsource everything normally from local areas they go into and find where they have all these. So Siete is probably up there with all of them. They make chips, they make cookies, they make sauces.
It tastes good too.
It's so delicious. Their chips are my favorite chips. And then Primal Kitchen is great for marinades and dressings and sauces. And Simple Mills, they have no chemicals or synthetic ingredients, and they have brownies, pancake mix. I made a pizza last week with their pizza crust. It's all almond flour. Delicious. Trader Joe's is their staple, but those two brands in particular, I don't know if it's a public traded stock, but I should probably purchase it.
You should. And I don't know, any other shopping tips for moms or anything like that? Any fun tips or tools of the trade like that they might want to know about?
I think in the world we are today, where we're at in shopping, everyone goes straight to Amazon. I love Amazon. You should see our front door on most days. However, lately I've started, with inflation, like it's just good to be a smart shopper, right? With health insurance, I always teach people to be a good consumer, and I have to do that in all things. Look it up on Amazon and then maybe just search it a couple other places, because sometimes it might be at a better cost somewhere else. And even the shipping still may not even matter. So I think just being a good consumer, right? Most people aren't somewhere in a place where they can financially just, it doesn't matter how much, that's more convenient. And some people are, like, convenience is worth a lot too. So I think just really looking and just never forget about TJ Maxx or Ross for that matter.
We'll be sending them a bill for sponsorship of this episode. All right. Anything else as we bring this sucker to a close? Like, what's the one product that everybody needs to try from Arbonne getting started? Everybody's on the fence about it.
It's the gut shot.
The gut shot. All right, so let's tell them why, tell them what to expect, tell them what the commitment is, and you got to finish, folks.
The gut shot is a 3-in-1. It's super greens. It is a skin elixir, and it is a gut probiotic, and it has tons of different things to keep your gut healthy. You mix them all together over about 4 to 6 ounces of water, and it's the first thing I drink before I eat my first meal. Within 3 to 5 days, if you will see a decrease in your bloating and your inflammation. If you do that along with a clean, balanced, 80-20 kind of rule with your meals, you're going to see a significant difference. And if that's not enough, there's that 30-day cleanse that they do, the reset. That's how I got started on Arbonne, and that's what kept me going. So,
well, I got to say, baseball season and Christmas season were always my two favorite seasons until bikini season. And it's bikini season, baby.
That's right.
So I'm a big fan of all those products because they keep you looking like you look.
And
folks, I'm extremely grateful and undeserving of a wife and partner than what I'm looking at that sits over there today. I probably don't do a good enough a job of showing it, but it's 100% true. I'm grateful for you. I love you. And thank you so much for just all your patience, because that's the one thing I don't have is patience. And you have to carry the load for our whole house, I think, because none of us have it but you.
Nope.
So thank you for being you.
You're welcome.
Folks.
The Hitstreak is powered by RAC Financial. When it comes to your credit card merchant processing, RAC Financial is efficient, reliable, and trusted. At the end of the day, when it comes to processing your credit card payments, they make it simple, the way it's supposed to be. Check out RAC Financial.
Rhiannon Hyder, Team Hyder Health Insurance, merchant processing, Arbonne. She's an Arbonne consultant, wife, mother, all the things. She is a pool chemical expert. We didn't talk about that today, but if you got questions about it, she's mastered ours, got them all dialed in, right? So, Rhiannon, thanks so much for coming back and doing this again with me. It's always a good time. You provided tons of value, and I can't wait to see the content that comes from this sucker.
I know. It's going to be a good one.
Any final thoughts?
Nope. I'm good.
Well, girl, let's get on to the next thing, shall we?
We shall.
All right, folks, thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of The Hitstreak. I'm your man, Nick Hyder. God bless.